Hello. I'm going to take us on a quick spin through Garagiste from the customer's point of view. Um, I'll try to keep it brief. If we run into trouble, let's see how it goes. You can see I'm on the dev server here, so we can enter some fake data. Join the list. So a customer will come here. They'll say, array age. Okay. Uh, Phone number is required. Say Steve. Enter a simple password and sign up. Okay, so we have some emails. 3 emails are sent. We have one that gets sent to me, basically letting me know a new customer is signed up. There aren't very many, and we do have a card testing problem. So I try to keep an eye on new customers. The customer gets one asking them to confirm their email. So let's click that. And then once they confirm their email, they get a little note of explanation about how it works. Customers are often confused by especially this part. We don't ship right away. So sometimes customers get turned around about that. So we try to make it obvious. And then here we go. Let's set up the account. Sign in. All right. Those flashes of styles it's just the dev server doing its thing. That's not how it is in production. Okay, so this customer is just signed in. There's a block here that up top that is very context aware. So it looks at whether they've entered a shipping address or a credit card number, or it tries to guide them along the things they need to do in order to have a nice experience here. Little blurb about how it works that only shows up if they don't have orders. We have, so our dev account is not hooked up correctly to MailChimp, but in production they would be. So this would be green. They would be subscribed to the MailChimp newsletter, but just by creating an account, they can select whether they're pickup or delivery. We have the latest offer here. If there's still something available in that offer, we show it, let them buy it. And then we have a list of offerings here. So things from various offers that are still available. So this is their dashboard. We'll just run through over here. If they had, so all of this stuff, maybe I should sign in with a different customer to look at these things so we can actually see some things. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to sign in as a customer that I know has, oops. Let me see. There we go. Okay. So this is a customer that I use a lot for testing. So this customer has orders. Expand this so you can look at their orders. This is actually a list of requests. The schema for orders is a little bit interesting in that before they pay anything, it is captured as a request. So we know that they ordered or they requested one of this offering. And all that, okay, here's an example. So this is one that has been requested. it has not been allocated, so they haven't been charged for it. So if they look at this, it tells them this hasn't been allocated yet. And the reason for this is that when we first become aware of the wine and we put it in an offer, in an email offer, the details of that may change, especially quantities. And so we don't know exactly how much we're going to have at the time we put it in the email offer. So what we do is we take requests, and it's first come, first serve. That also sort of adds a little bit of sense of scarcity. People get very excited about trying to place their orders quickly or make their requests quickly so they can be first in line. Anyway, so this is a request waiting to be allocated. Here is one that I have a lot of payment failed here. This is all just test data. So this is the retail purchase. Let's look for one that partially shipped. Okay. Well, these are POS orders. Let me skip farther back here. Well, I know this user has some. There we go. Here's one. So here's an order that has been allocated. So there's an amount here. When they request an order, it is basically just the request record. When we allocate it, meaning when we charge them and we tell them they've got it, we then create an order record, a payment. A payment captures some information about that money to be exchanged, and then a payment action is the transaction. Essentially, it's the credit card transaction. And we also create the customer inventories. You'll see throughout the code base customer inventory, I use an alias unit a lot for that. So I might say, for example, units equals customer inventory where such and such, and then we'll loop through those units. It's just an awkward name, so sometimes you use units as an alias for that, but it should be obvious in the queries in the code. Anyway, so this is an example of an order that has been allocated. They have these units here, so they ordered 12 of this, and so we create one per quantity that they ordered. Each one represents a single bottle for the most part. We show them the offer as it appeared when they got it. Yeah, and so this is pretty straightforward. There are some retail purchases. Now these allow them to... Oh, another thing worth mentioning about orders like this is that they can only be a single item per order. Anything sold through email can only be a single item per order. And what I mean by that is that if they were to order two of item A, two, like, let's say two Bordeaux and two Merlot, those will be two separate charges and two separate requests. And that is just an awkward thing about the system. I would love to fix that. And I think the schema is in a good place to be able to fix that going forward. But for now, any order placed through the emailed offers is just one item per order. And I can show you more later about what I mean by that. However, as I was saying, the POS, people can come into the warehouse and they can buy things in the warehouse. And there's a POS system that will allow them to buy multiple things per order. So just one charge. This is an example. They've got one of this, and they've got one of this, and there's one charge, and they got one receipt for it. And that's ideally how it would be moving forward. But for now, it's only like that in the POS. POS retail purchases, meaning when they go into the shop, into the warehouse. Okay, so orders, shipments. We've got a list of shipments. They will be pickups or shipments depending on whether they have their settings set like that. So any customer can come in here and say that I want to be a pickup customer, or I would like my goods delivered. And then they can also set if they're going on vacation or they don't want things to be delivered during a certain window of time, they can select that here. When customers are first created, they're created as pickup customers, and then they have to enter an address and update that setting themselves if they want it shipped. So this is pretty straightforward also, I think. The schema is a little complex, but there's a shipment record, and those are joined with shipment items to customer inventory objects. So a shipment would be like this. And then we have shipment item. Those are not correct. This is my AI filling that in. Yes, that's correct. And then we would have, this would be shipment ID and then customer inventory. And then the customer inventory is joined to the shipment like this. And that is how, for example, this is a customer inventory. Well, here we go. This is a customer inventory. This is a customer inventory. And those are joined to the shipment with the shipment item table. Here we give them a little bit of information about the offer that it came from. This was a big offer, what they call a snapshot offer. It has a lot of stuff in it. But customers like to be able to, when they get a shipment, they like to see like what are the details of this wine, and so this allows them to see that. Shipping addresses, again, I think mostly straightforward. They can have one default. We use Smarty to validate these. So if they add a new address, and we could say, I'm going to enter mine, 2762. And then this comes from the Smarty address service. Okay, no, please go away. Or they can manually enter something. So if they can't find their address in Smarty's database, they can manually enter something. They can have multiple addresses, but we will only ship to the default address. Well, there are some recent changes that allow them to select that. So that's an improvement that actually I might as well go ahead and show you that now. So this is relatively new functionality. The team may talk to you about improvements here because this was just released like a couple of weeks ago. But customers can now request a shipment. They can select ship everything. So they, because we don't ship right away, they can end up with a big backlog. We have a few customers that have thousands of bottles of wine. And so it's unlikely that those customers are going to want all those thousands of bottles to show up at once. So this gives them some options about what quantity they're going to receive. This means ship me everything. Like I said, that's unlikely for a person that has thousands, but if someone has a reasonable amount, they may say ship me everything. They can choose only certain categories to receive. So they might want wine or they might want only food. Those are the main categories you'll see. There are also hard goods, which would be like wine glasses, for example, non-perishables. And we also sometimes sell spirits, and that has special shipping rules. We can only ship that within Washington, so that's a special case. But anyway, so if you could say ship what I select, and then if they choose something, if they choose a shipping date that's far away, they may order more stuff, and they can say, and if I order anything else before the date, then keep putting it in the case and ship me that. Or I just want whatever I have now. If I order more stuff, don't add any more. They can select whether to receive full or partial cases. So full cases of wine would be 12 bottles. That's definitely the most cost effective. If they order one bottle of wine and have that shipped, it's going to be much more expensive per bottle to ship. So that's a choice they can make. And then they can say only two. So, for example, in the case of that customer that had thousands of bottles, they could say, well, I only want 5 cases of wine. Well, max. Oh, no, this customer only has 2 cases available. So in that case, it would be 2. Here's where I mentioned earlier, we only ship to their default address, but this new functionality gives them the ability to choose an address to ship to. Here's a little bit about our shipping schedule. So because of the various state to state regulations, the rules are different per state, and we ship by FedEx to some states, and these are the FedEx states, and they pick up on Fridays, and so we only. So, for example, Virginia is a Friday only state, and if they choose Virginia, like I did here, when they come down here, they will only be able to select Fridays. But if they choose, say, Washington, then they can choose most weekdays. When is pretty obvious. This note, I'm not sure this is being handled very well right now. I think this is probably an improvement that needs to be made, is that this note needs to be more visible. And then just a little checkbox saying, if it's 100-degree summer and they're asking us to ship them the wine, then there's some risk there. So this allows them to request a shipment, and then they can also see their pending shipments. In this case, do we have any? Yes, we have a lot of pending shipments. Just because this is my heavy testing customer. So for existing shipments, what happens is, let's say it's fall, we will auto ship. We say we're going to auto ship, which means that without asking the customer, we're going to ship to everyone in California. So we auto ship in the spring and fall. And so fall comes, ship to everyone in California. For example, we go state by state. I'm not saying we only do California. I'm just saying, like, it's Tuesday. Today we're going to do California, or this week we're going to do California. And what was I going to say? Right. So when we do that, we create a batch of shipments, and the customers get an email. A batch basically just automatically compiles their inventory into shipments, and we try to ship them as much as we can. There are a couple of customers that are sort of flagged not to ship, those customers that have the thousands of bottles. But anyway, so the team will create a batch of shipments for California, for example. All of those customers will get an email saying, hey, we're sending you your stuff. Here's what's in it. Here's when it's coming, or here's when it's shipping, at least. If you need to request any changes to that, let us know. You have 48 hours, or there's some window of time. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but it's a pretty short window of time. I think it's 48 hours, or maybe 48 business hours, so not the weekends. But anyway, so this is where customers can land to request those changes, and they can just choose a different address or a different date, and they can do that for all shipments, or they can do it individually. So they can choose, to send this one to this address and this one to this address. and this one to that address. And then there's a little thing to let them see what's in it. And that's pretty much it for that. And again, this is somewhat new functionality, so I'm sure there will be improvements to be made here. Um, and I think that covers shipments pretty much. Pick up or delivery, request shipments, see pending shipments, and then they can edit their address. Right, so we'll move on. Payment methods. This is very straightforward. We use Stripe. We used to use CyberSource, and we still do have some CyberSource cards in the system. We're just kind of waiting for those to expire as we move more customers over to Stripe. So if a customer who has a CyberSource payment method, that card expires, they come back to the site to re-add it, and when they re-add it, it'll be in Stripe. And we just use Stripe's little form here. There's this link functionality. I'm sure you're aware of this. Our customers, I had that enabled for a very short amount of time, and we got a lot of negative feedback about that. A lot of customers writing to say, "What is this? I never signed up for this. I don't want this. I don't understand what's happening." So I turned that off, and you'll see in production we're not using link. It's just the credit card, and I don't believe we allow them to hook up their bank either. There we go, link. Anyway, so that's pretty straightforward. Just add a credit card and they can choose which one is their primary. That's kind of ugly with this alert down here, this flash message. Right, so payment methods, credits. Oh, hello. Okay, so probably we have some issue with the test data here. Let me see if I go to sign in with my, whoops, I go to my customer account, and let's see what we have for credits over here. Well, I don't have any credits. Let me try another customer real quick. There we go. Here's some credits. So I'm not sure what the issue is with, where did they go? Oh, I guess I left that screen behind. But that error, if I had to guess, I'm going to guess it was some wonky test data that was incomplete. Something that needs to be fixed. But for most customers, they can get credits in a couple of ways. One is that a customer calls up, they're unhappy, customer service person or the customer service agent says, "You know what? I'm sorry for the trouble. We'll give you $10," and they can add a note there. And when a customer has a credit, they can't choose what to use it on. It just gets used automatically as they order. So that's one way they can get a credit. They can get a credit if somebody sends them a gift. So we have some gift functionality, and I'll go through that in a moment. But somebody sends you a gift. When you accept it, it creates a credit. That's another way you can get it. And then the third way you can get a credit is by getting a refund. So we can issue refunds, and instead of putting them back on your card, we might issue them as credits. And we do that because it saves us money. For most customers, they're just fine with that because they order from us continuously. So yeah, these are the credits. And I would argue that this could probably be folded into a billing module or something. It's not, the organization of it isn't super great. I think that, credits and payment methods would belong on some sort of billing set of pages that sort of were more cohesive. But for now, this is how it is. And then, as I mentioned, gifts. So these are gifts that I, as a customer, have sent. And I should say that this has always been a little confusing to customers. When someone sends them a gift, they often look here to look for it. But when you receive a gift, it becomes a credit. I would say that an improvement we could make here that we never got around to would be to show gifts sent and received here. Might might involve a little bit of schema updates, but that would take away that confusion. So these are gifts that I have sent, and I'm on production server here. So I'm going to come back to localhost. I'm going to go to gifts, and I'm going to send a gift. So in this case, I'm going to send it to, this is my dog's name, to Luke, and they can type anything in here. It doesn't matter. So they can use a nickname, whatever. It doesn't have to be. To email, it's going to be sent to that person. That person, they don't have to know the person's email necessarily. So they can send it to a person. The person can accept it and use whatever email address they like. So we'll go through that real quick. I'm going to say to Luke at dog.com. I'm going to say $30. I think so there's a $25 minimum here. So I'm going to say $35. I'm going to say the message is, hello, Luke. And then you can put your name. It can be anything. We're going to review it. And then send that gift. And then let's see if we get it. There we go. So there's the receipt, and we should get, there we go. And here's what the recipient gets. Design here is pretty mediocre. It used to look quite different, and then as part of the overhaul of the whole system, it kind of lost some of its pizzazz. This is, I would say, an area. I would argue the styles of the whole site could be refreshed and sort of made more cohesive. Definitely a weakness. Anyway, so here we are. I'm this customer. I'm Luke now. Until I accept it, it's nothing. It's just a gift record that's waiting to be accepted. It's not attached to my account. It was sent to, it might have been sent to like my work email, but maybe maybe I don't have an account yet, or maybe I have an account, but it's at a different email and the sender of the gift doesn't know. So we're going to open an incognito window. Going to accept the gift. And then it walks them through this process that allows them to either create an account or to sign in if they are already a customer, and they can use whatever address they want. And then once they do that, it becomes a credit in their account, and it will be on their credit screen. But like I said, not their gift screen, unfortunately, sadly. Right. So that's gifts. And then lastly, here we have the account page, which is, I think a little bit of a hodgepodge. It's got, I don't know that this belongs here. Could probably be somewhere else. But anyway, email and password. We use Devise for a lot of that. Personal information. I mean, this is all, pretty straightforward. And I think that covers most everything from the customer's point of view. Sort of a quick flyby of what it's like to be a customer. So now maybe let's take a look at what it looks like from the point of view of staff. And I'm going to end this recording and I'll start again with a new recording.